I've been a homemaker. How do I know about business? Let me just learn. I took that leap of faith. And having two daughters in a Marwari community is a big deal too. People telling you that you don't have a son. What are you going to do? Who will carry on the legacy? And that's where I said, I need to open that door for my girls as well and lead by example.
Dipali, welcome to Leadership Mantras with Forbes India.
Thank you so much, Naandika.
I would like to go a little behind to your past from where it all started. So you got married at 18 and till the age of 30 you were raising kids. And at 30 you decided to join your husband's business. So what was that exact moment that struck you that, I want to do something. I'm done being a homemaker. Let's step out and do something. So, what was that exact moment, if you can share some anecdote?
Let me just give you a little insight into my journey so far, Naandika. I got married at the age of 18, but, I think always the daughter is always a shadow of her mother. And I've seen my mother work and hold herself own in a community in Jaipur where, she was. And that has been the impression I've always had. One thing that I've always believed in is constant learning and evolution. For myself, that has been very, very important. Coming to Bombay, finding my feet, because it was a new city for me, getting my girls in schools was a big deal. Settling them was important. And when I was 30, my girls were 10 and 7, Naandika. And I felt it was important for me to do something. And it wasn't, I just couldn't do the casual lunches or casual dinner parties. And having two daughters in a Marwari community is a big deal too. People telling you that you don't have a son. What are you going to do?
Who will carry on the
legacy? And that's where I said, I need to open that door for my girls as well and lead by example. And it wasn't easy, by the way, Naandika. And I think a lot of people tell me, oh, why? I mean, your husband has a business and you just walked in. No, it wasn't like that. For us, I think, Naandika, for BK and me both, we always believe in the culture of work but standing by, leading by example. He told me, okay, you want to work? You decide, but it's going to be the way everybody does and comes to work. It's not going to be that you choose your 2 hours or 3 hours and you come to work and you go back. And that wasn't something I was also looking at. And I started from basics. So I set up the design studio. I started going to the vendors, learning about business and going to the factory. I remember the Shatabdi every week. And I started from there. I launched the brand Spaces in 2003. And I said, I've been a homemaker. And how do I know about business? Let me just learn. I took that leap of faith and went to Harvard. And when I went to Harvard, it was the OPM that I did 3 weeks consecutively for 3 years. For me to go to Harvard was not about just doing the regular casual classes that you do, but it was also about learning from those owner presidents of their companies what their life lessons are. And it was sometimes very, very interesting how the work culture works everywhere. So very, very insightful indeed.
Like you mentioned earlier, when you joined the business at 30, your husband BK Goenka clearly told you that you're not getting any special treatment. You have to behave like any other employee that's working in the company. And you were hands-on, you were on ground, visiting the customers, speaking to the distributors, understanding the entire process. But still, there was a lot of skepticism from the insiders. So how was it like to be viewed as a boss's wife?
It's been very interesting that, when people say that, you got an opportunity because your husband is the chairman of the group. But I think you got to work harder. You got to work more to see and I won't say prove, but I think to see how and where you fit in the organization. For me, the interesting thing was when I launched brand Spaces and then I got into home textiles. It has been a long journey. People did talk about it. People said, is Welspun serious about home textiles now? And there's somebody who's come on board and she doesn't know anything except that she's the chairman's wife. The advantage, and I always learned that you got to play on your strengths. And I knew the consumer better. I knew what kind of products she would like. And that's where my journey began. The journey began on the terms of understanding the business from the floor, understanding the business from that blue-collar associate who knows it better than anybody else, understanding the product that the consumer was looking at, and creating that space for Welspun. And I think that's been a very interesting one.
So Dipali, you studied psychology and you come from a non-finance background. You did go to Harvard, but how was the process like to learn the numbers and decode the balance sheet? How much time did it take for you to get there?
So Naandika, yes, I'm not a finance person, and I will say that, but I know my business very well. I know where the nuances are, and it has been a journey. So I think if you know your businesses well, you know where the leakages can be and what are the opportunities to look at, optimizing your costs, optimizing your businesses and your margins. I think that's very, very important. So that journey from that cotton yarn, from cotton to the manufacturing to the point of sale is a very interesting one. So you got to learn it. You got to get your hands dirty on it. So that's something I definitely did. Finance, if it is not, but if you know your business, and it has been something that I have learned, and I continuously learn. And Naandika, I will also say that, and I tell my daughters that as well, you'll not know everything, and you'll not have all the answers. You got to be, vulnerable enough to ask that question, and I do that. I always say that I'm not an expert. Can you help me with this? So because I think that's very, very important. And I always say that if you're the smartest person in that room, I think you're not good and your company needs a lot of improvement as well. So I think I have a great team, and you'll constantly learn, and it's a constant evolution. Yes, I know my finance more and better, and I'll continue to learn as well.
Right. So currently 94% of your production is exported to the international market, and only 6% of it is being sold in India. So how are you trying to increase the ratio in the domestic market more?
So let me give you a perspective first. When we started Home Textiles, it was meant for exports. And yes, today it is at 91%, and we are basically now growing the Indian market. And the journey from B2B to B2C has been interesting. As I spoke about 2003 when I launched my brand Spaces, India market was growing. Today I look at India, and I think we all look at India. India is that bright spot on the world map. The addressable market for home textile in India is around 48,000 crores, and that is a great opportunity for home textiles. And the addressable market for Welspun as well. We are not doing just towel sheets, rugs, carpets, bedding. We are doing flooring, area rugs, and hard flooring as well, and wet wipes. So we see a great opportunity. The Indian consumer is evolving, and that consumer doesn't live in metros. That aspiration is in the tier 2, tier 3. Our vision towards the journey towards Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Anjar to Agartala is really true. We are in now 11,000 stores in India. I think I must tell you that Welspun is the most widely distributed brand in the country for home textiles today. And it's a journey that we are going to take on. Today, if I say our domestic business is at around 7% of our total mix. And we are continuing to grow and evolve.
I was just coming to that. I think post the August 2016 crisis, you went big on getting more into the technology, innovation and the ESG bit. But I think you guys were way ahead of time for getting into blockchain technology. So how was it like? I mean, can you take us through that?
So with the traceability, when we started the WellTrack, the QR code you can trace it back to the last bale of cotton. Now when we come to blockchain, which is now the WellTrack 2.0, it can trace it back not only just to your cotton bale, but to ecosystems that you're creating around you, whether it's your vendors and the others. For us, important, the thing that came in is environmental, social and governance, the ESG bit. And that has been something that we continue to work on. So let me tell you, in Anjar, we don't use a drop of fresh water. we recycle every drop of fresh water, and that is 30 million liters of water. So the communities get water to drink, and the farmers get water for irrigation. We are going to go completely green by early 2027. So we are going to have green energy across. We have a roadmap, that by 2030, how many lives are we going to be impacting? That's like 1 million lives. We're already on that journey. Working with the farmers so that they can have better cotton initiatives. So that's something that we are doing. So I think there's a whole lot of things that we are working on, and of course governance. So getting independent directors on board to report back everything has something that we've evolved from being a promoter-driven company to where we are today.
So Dipali, what are some patterns that you've noticed about women at work, and what are the things that they can change to advance their careers?
Naandika, let me just start off with when I started Welspun, came on board of Welspun, we were just 7% women. Today we are 30% women at Welspun.
Lovely.
But I can also tell you a few things here that you can't just get diversity easily like that. It is about how the organization embraces them in the way of being sensitive about the needs. And I think that's very, very important. When we say about diversity, in fact, you will see that how do your peers respect you? It's a very key one. And also, diversity is not just women. It's about embracing the community. We have specially abled people working with us in a spinning area, where we basically are, embracing all kinds of diversity.
Yeah, I was just coming to that. How do you view inclusivity? So,
we say that India is going to be a 5 trillion economy, and if that 50% of that population will not work, it's going to be a problem for our country. And I think that's going to be key. And for us, how do we take on and have and embrace the communities around our factories is something that we're working on.
So Dipali, when a global recession is staring us in the face, which is reflected in your Q3 plunge in profits, how does a leader react and motivate the workforce?
Naandika, I always believe it's not just a quarter on quarter that you can judge an organization to. The important thing that we look at ourselves is our vision at Welspun, and I think that is really sacrosanct. And what we are looking at is, growing our global markets. Definitely, that's something that we see with not only private labels but our licensed brands, with flooring and advanced textiles and home textiles. Along with that, we are also doing TOB, top of bedding as well. So that's again one thing that remains very rock solid. India is going to be a very big market for us, and it's going to be Har Ghar Welspun. Kashmir se Kanyakumari and Anjar se Agartala is going to be something that we are working towards, and it's a journey from B2B to B2C. And as you said, that how are you motivating your teams in this recession? It's about the dream. It's about the vision that you have. And that's what the team gets inspired about. I think you're not building in and looking at a quarter on quarter, but yes, this time. And we all saw that. COVID was where, the world, it struck COVID, but always say that after a contagious disease that hits the world, there's a recession. And that we all are seeing now. But that time we saw that the logistics cost went completely awry. The commodities went for a toss. The energy basket was in a kind of a complete fix, and that still is, if I may say so. But now if I look at where the commodity cost, cotton was 80% of a product, now has come down considerably. Freight has come down considerably. We will see that cooling down in the terms of our margins. But the recession, if I look at it, the world is going through its own turmoil, and that actually has to, come to a kind of a little, if you look at America, you look at the American economy, it's a resilient economy. It might just come back faster vis-a-vis the rest of the world. And that's something will continue. However, it's about that vision that we work on. Vision of a constant improvement. Vision about, how we can, get better products towards, get what could be, that thing that could be a consumer's delight is what we will continue to work on.
Okay, that's great. So one last question for you. What is that one piece of advice that you'd like to give to the upcoming women leaders?
So I always believe in something, and that is never give up. Challenges will constantly be there, but you got to make the most of those challenges and learn from them. Always lead from the front, and above all, you'll not know everything, and you'll not have an answer for everything.
Thank you so much, Dipali. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing so much information about your journey and some thought-provoking leadership mantras with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
It was
Naandika.
lovely and great having you on the show.
It was my pleasure.